Hi, I'm AC. This video we're going to make this garden arbor. Another video will be making this door for the arbor. That's an option. The one I'm going to make on this video does not include this door. This is a newer one I made with a different style slats, wood slats. And as you can see up here, there's this is basically what we're going to make. I built this one. This was the first one I built. I built it in 1992. It's still hanging in there. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to recycle this panel and the other panel that was in here and make a new one. But as you can see, this is from 1992 to 2023. It's finally showing some signs of disrepair. The landscape timbers themselves are still structurally good. Some of these 2x4s may need to be replaced. But let's go inside and I'll show you how to start making one. Okay, so the most important thing on building this garden arbor trellis is the selection of your timbers. This is made, depending on where you live, this project will cost you $125 to $150, somewhere around there. As you can see, it's fairly large. I've already made one section of it. And I'm getting ready to show you how to make that here in a minute. But these are all the materials they're made out of. This is just a standard fence picket, 6-foot fence picket. These are standard landscape timbers. What I did, since I have a planer, I ran these through the planer and cleaned them up just a little bit on each side. You don't need a planer. You can build this without cleaning them up just a little bit. What this does is when you go to paint it, it actually makes it look a little better, and it's a little easier to work with. But you definitely don't need a planer to do this. And selection. You want to get a nice straight landscape timber. Okay. You want to have at least 4 completely straight ones. You're going to need 2 for each side. Okay. Your other ones, you're not going to need to be as straight because we're going to cut them into some smaller pieces. And the other material we're going to use is just your standard treated 2x4s. These will be the top sections that go in the arbor. What I've already done was, when I made my top section of that arbor side, I marked these pieces accordingly, because you have to have the same size pieces, obviously, for the other side. So I've pre-marked these, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these up, and then I'm going to cut our one cut we have to have on our side piece. And that's another thing I've noticed, and that's important. There's a wide flat side on this, and there's a narrow flat side on these timbers. What you want to do is, when you assemble it, you obviously want to have the wide flat side assemble with the wide flat side. In other words, you don't want it like that. So you have to be careful and make sure when you assemble it that each side goes to where it needs to be. Alright, with further ado, what we'll do is we'll set our saw to our angle and we'll make our cuts. Cut. Okay, now that we got all our pieces cut, we've laid them in the position that they should be, and now we're going to start assembling. First we assemble the top 3 pieces, and then we'll assemble the long pieces. This is an accessory I got from Rockler. I like it to apply the glue with. This is the type of glue that I'm using, that you should use. And then what I do is I'll glue these down real good. I just glued the wrong one. We're going to put on that. We'll just let that be for a while. But I'll glue them, and then I'll put them together with some 2-inch finish nails, and then I'll let it sit overnight. And then I'll come back the next day and put these screws in, these 3-inch screws. Go in like that. And you'll find that these, because these are landscape timbers, they're kind of hard to work with. But you want that joint to be tight where that glue will bind. Okay, as you can see, I'm fighting this, trying to make this joint go together. Okay. Now, once we got it assembled like that, I want to check and make sure this distance is the same as that distance down there. Okay, this is a piece that I cut to go in between here, so that I know if I make this identical in width, that's what I want. Come down here, and we'll put this in like so. Then what I'll do is I'll take some temporary bracing, put on here to help reinforce it until we're done with it. This is something that's not going to be on the plans. It's something I added to the plans to make it easier for you to build, and that is these boards right here. The original plan, the one that you purchased, will show you putting these boards directly onto that. And I will tell you from experience that by building these already and then putting them up, it's a whole lot easier, because you just put it on there like that and then screw them in. It'll be like a puzzle. But believe me, you can do it the other way now, don't get me wrong. You could take and rip these down and just butt them to here and screw them in. But as you'll see when we go to assemble this, this will be a lot easier. So in order to make these pieces, all you have to do is purchase 3 of these. They're, I think for 10 bucks you can get 3 of them. And what you do is you'll cut them in half and then mark them to go where they're supposed to be. You'll have 3 short ones and then 2 long ones. Okay. I've already made this section, so it goes right here, and for instructional purposes only, I've left those out so you could actually see them being made. And what you do is you lay your boards in here where they're supposed to be, cut your angle on it, and you mark it where it's supposed to be cut. And then what you'll do, as you can see, there's 2 for each section. Okay, whatever this one is going to be the same size as the one that's going to butt to your other timber. So what you do is we'll just cut that. Two pieces go on each side. Now, to make these pieces, all you do is you take a 2x4 and rip it down the same width we just ripped this down to. Okay, and then as you can see, I rounded all the edges on these with 3/8 round over. then what we'll do is we'll cut this to length, and then you'll repeat the process. There's 3 of these to go to each section, so you're going to need 9 pieces identical to this, and that's basically it. What you do is, as you can see, I marked, put 1 in the center and then 1 on each end, like that. Okay. And what I do is I'll glue these, put them together. I'll shoot it with some nails, let it dry overnight, and then come right behind it and put 1 2-inch screw in each one. And then you should be good to go. Okay, now that our glue is dried, what I'm going to do is come in here and pre-drill for our long screws that we're going to put in, like so. And these are some really good screws. They're Spax exterior decking 3.5 inch. And what I do is I put 2 in each joint. Okay. Instead of coming this way, I'm going to come from the top, as these are going to make like a little indentation, so the indentation will be on the top of the structure. You won't see it, as is if you were to put it here, you would see it. So that's basically it. You repeat the process and finish the top. Okay, so now we're going to put one of these sections together, like so. There'll be 3 of these sections. And we've got our pieces cut with our angles on them. And we've marked the center where it goes, and then the sides, the ends where it goes. And, what I'll do, we're going to be putting 1 screw in each. Okay, so we're going to pre-drill our holes. And what this does, it just keeps the board from splitting. So what we're going to do is 2-inch screws. All it is one 2-inch screw at each end, and then 2 nails. And between the nails, the screw, and the glue, that'll be a good joint. And then, just for common sense, I mean, this board, obviously this board has the points on each end, and a short point on this. You want to make it the same, right? So, make sure your points are out here. Don't put it on like that, that would be backwards. And yes, I have put them together backwards before. Okay, and there you have it. And what we'll do is we'll set this aside with its other two brothers. And then now we're going to make the long sides. That's going to be going. Those are the three sides that we made for here. I mean, those are the top pieces. This long piece will be one that goes on the side. That's going to have the lattice in it. Okay. This one is already made. As you can see, I got the 3/4 round already nailed in there. It's been primed. All we have to do is set the lattice inside it. But that'll be done after we install it. What we'll do is we'll install these first. Then we'll come and install this without the lattice. Then we'll put the lattice panel in, and then our finished piece to hold the lattice panel in. And the reason we do that is so we can get in here to put our screws in to connect to here. If you put the lattice panel in first, it's hard to do that. So this one, I'm going to set this aside and I'm going to show you how to make one. And here we go with our standard fence picket. We've got our saw set to the width that we need, and we're just going to cut. Okay, so I already know that I determined our length by our lattice panel. That's what determines our length. It's going to be going on here like this. So this length and this angle will match this. Okay. So we have one already cut to length. What we'll do is we'll mark this one. Come on over here, cut our angle. Okay, so this is kind of easy. It's about the same thing as making the smaller pieces. We're going to be putting one board at the top and one board at the bottom. Same thing, we're going to pre-drill our holes. I primed these because I'm going to paint it white, and I always try to prime stuff before I assemble it if I can, because it's easier to paint it for me. This bottom one is pretty easy. It just flushes up with the bottom. Same thing, 2 nails and a screw. Okay. Okay. On the top, you can see here I got my layout mark coming from our angle to here and then squaring back down. Alright, pretty good. Okay, now we got to line up our, we have to make our 3/4 round. And all I do is I take a piece of 1x and I cut it to 3/4 of an inch. Okay. this is 3/4 by 3/4. That's why they call it 3/4 round. All you're going to do is round one edge of it, and then we'll get our round one edge of it. And there you have it. Okay? Essentially, you'll have to have two sets of this, just like I explained. You have one to go on the outside, and then one to go on the inside to hold the lattice in. You have to have one, it's like a sandwich. You're sandwiching the lattice in between these two pieces. So, prior to this video, I already cut the angles, which is just a square 45, and I've primed the wood. And now we're just going to install them. Okay, this is a 7/16. You set this to 7/16 and mark it. Okay. As you can see, I did not prime the wood on the side where it's going to be glued to, for a simple fact that the glue will stick to the wood. I'm not sure if it would stick to the primer or not, so the sides that touch each other that are wood to wood, you don't want to pre-paint that. Okay. So obviously we want the round side facing out, our finished round edge facing out. Now, have to trim that one up a little bit. Same with that. Still too long. Not by much. Okay. Glue bottles leaking everywhere. What the fuck's going on? Never had that happen before. That's what happens sometimes with the grain. The way the grain of the wood is tends to make the nails, sometimes it'll shoot out like that. But we'll have to cut that and fix that. No biggie. I assume this one's going to be too long too. No? It fits. Come on now. Okay, that's it. And next time you see, the next video will be, or the continuation will be, I'm go ahead and prime all this. As you can see, we've already primed our landscape timbers. We've primed a lot of our pieces. And I'm going to go ahead and prime the rest of it. And then we'll shoot a video on assembling the garden arbor. Okay, at this point I wanted to stop and tell you about how I finished this. As you can see, it's already done. We put our final coat on. This is the product that I use for primer. It's an oil-based primer. I put that on first, do one good coat of that, and then I use this product here to fill in all the gaps. With these landscape timbers, there's a lot of cracks and gaps in it. And what I'll do is I'll take this caulking, which is paintable for exterior use, and I'll fill in all the cracks after I primed it. And take a putty knife, smooth it out, and then let that dry. And then after that dries, I'll take, and this is the product I use for the finished paint. Okay, I got this at Lowe's, and what I'll do is I'll put 2 coats of that on. And I can tell you from experience, this garden arbor we're building now is replacing one that I built in 1993. So this is 2023. That'll tell you how long this will last. And I think it's due to the good job that I did on the painting, because it lasted for a long time. So this round, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and install it, and I'll just show you real quick on what I mean about caulking. As you can see, right here where we put our piece on, I caulked this, and it looks real good. After you caulk it, prime it, caulk it, and then paint it, and it looks really good. So what we're going to do now is our posts are going to go 2 foot in the ground, or thereabouts 2 foot. So what I did is I marked 2 foot, and then I put a temporary brace on it. I did one here and one to the other side. And as you can see, one side of it you don't need to prime and paint, because that's what's going to be receiving our lattice inside part. So we'll put that in, and then we'll caulk it and paint that. But it's only necessary at this point to paint one side of it. Okay, so now you can see we've already dug our holes where they need to be, and we've installed our first side. And as you can see, we've got some temporary blocking down here. So what you do is you level it off like that, put your level there, and then use blocking to get it level. And then the next thing we're going to do is put in our lattice and our pieces here. Okay, as you can see now, we've got our pieces in place. We've used our clamps here to hold them in place. And what you do is you center that on the timber and then put them in place, clamp it, and then you screw it. I've got the wrong colored screws. Obviously these are yellow, but you can buy these screws. This is tan colored. Get the white ones if you're doing it white. But this is for instructional purposes only. So once you clamp them in there, put your screws in, and then we'll put our next piece in, and then we'll put our lattice in. But that's how you do it. Okay, so as you can see, we put in our other frame, and all we had to do was slide it in the holes, line everything up, clamp it off with our clamps, and then screw it to our frame. And then after we screw it in, we'll just take our clamps off, and that'll be it. As it's sitting now, it's ready to be poured concrete around the poles. Pour concrete in there, and then come back tomorrow and take these braces off. And then the only thing we have left to do is put our lattice in, and then caulk it and paint it where we had butt this to the timbers. Okay, so at this point what I've done is I took and I poured our concrete in all the holes. I've let that dry. I've took the braces off, and I've already installed one side. And what we're going to do is show you how to do the other side. It's very easy. There's 4 pieces of molding that hold it in, holds the panel in. You cut them to length, and what I've done is I've pre-drilled these holes where the screws are going to go, because I don't want to split this trim. So I pre-drilled the holes, and then these are the screws I'm going to use. It's 2-inch number 8 white trim screws that are approved for treated lumber. These are really good. Okay, so before we put that in, we'll grab our panel that was recycled from 1993, I think. I cleaned it up the best I could, but it's not white. And with these panels, you don't, this panel needs to expand and contract as weather gets hot and cold. So you want like a 1/4 inch on each side and 1/4 inch top and bottom. On the bottom, what we're going to do is shim it up a little bit so it'll be able to expand on one point. If we don't shim it up, it won't be even. It'll look, you know, this dimension will be different than that dimension. That's another thing. When you cut these panels, you want to fit them in here to where it's centered in the hole. In other words, this distance, this space would be the same as this space. And then the space on the bottom, you want to be the same as the space on the top. So, I just remembered I forgot my little spacer, so I'm gonna get my spacer. Okay, we got our panel in there, we got it centered. We went and got our spacers to space it. That way we'll have a gap all the way around it. And now all we gotta do is put these 4 trim pieces in. Don't look the greatest because I mean we've had a lot of torrential rains here, and the dirt has just beat up around this. But once I get this landscaped and grass around here, it won't beat up the dirt. This will all be grass. And what I like to do, what I've learned, don't try to put the short piece in last. Put them in first, and then leave the long piece put last. Because the long piece will flex, it'll flex a little bit better. Okay, that's it. I run short on screws, but you get the idea. And then what we'll do is we'll come back here. You'll see these cracks right here. We'll caulk those cracks all around. And then we'll come back and put another coat of paint on it. And that'll be it. So, like I said, the link to the plan is in the description, and that's about a wrap.